Hello, my name is Matthias Cavodi. I'd like to welcome guys to my channel. Today we're going to do another one of these spotlight videos. The thing is, I just came across a bunch of my really old comic books. I was going through my collection. All these comic books were sort of together, and I really wanted to talk about Amazing Spider-Man 308 because we're not going to talk about Spider-Man. We're going to talk about Taskmaster. This is the first time I ever saw this character. I was really into starting to collect comic books. This is literally my third Spider-Man comic book ever, and probably one of my first 10 comic books ever. I remember, oh damn, the glare. I got this in a box of comic books at a garage sale. This was the first one I pulled out, and I was just really blown away because Todd McFarlane's art on this is just incredible. And the villain, Taskmaster, I thought he was interesting as hell. So when I started getting into comic books, I thought he was going to pop up a lot more often because he was such a cool character, and his appearances were very sporadic until like he didn't become like a mainstay in any series, at least until the Initiative. At least for me, he probably had one miniseries, and he would pop up every once in a while in the Avengers, or maybe one time in Iron Man and stuff like that. But I was always so surprised because I always remember this issue, being a kid and thinking this guy's going to pop up all over the place. He's cool as hell. He's a very interesting villain. And never really seeing him up until the early 2000s when he started to become a mainstay. So we're not really, because I'm going to cover the story arc in another video, but we are going to sort of gloss over some of the main aspects of this particular issue. So this story was written by David Micheline, illustrated by Todd McFarlane, which I just love his art. His stuff on Spider-Man really kicked ass, and as we're going to see with Taskmaster, it was awesome. I love to see this advertisement for G.I. Joes. I used to love collecting G.I. Joes, even though I had that rubber band in the middle. It was like this type of rubber that would break, and so you had always to really take care of them. So Mary Jane has been captured. She's been captured by this creepy landlord of theirs, of Peter and Mary Jane. So this is like sort of a messed up and pretty dark story. Like this guy's obsessed with her and stuff like that. And he's really, really creepy. But here we get the McFarlane Spider-Man. Looks awesome. And I would probably put an image of my first two Spider-Man issues were actually the Spider-Man series with McFarlane, where Spider-Man teams up with Wolverine to fight against they're trying to find a murderer, and they think it's Wendigo, but they discover it's not Wendigo. It's this really, really messed up guy, and it was a really dark story. Those were my two first Spider-Man issues, and this was my third. So I was already familiar with McFarlane's art, but I was always blown away. And my previous video, Spotlight video and Cap, I was talking about CD catalogs and buying music like this. I remember buying music like this. It took forever to come, and but every time I did it, I was really happy. I got some really good albums like that. So on Spider-Man's hunt for Mary Jane, he ends up going to this academy of where Taskmaster was. That's sort of his thing. He trains mercenaries and villains into combat and some basic stuff that villain henchmen have to know. And the impression that I got from Taskmaster was, from back then, being such, because look at him, like, and McFarlane and his thing with capes, he looks incredible. And this really stuck with me. Like, one of the very few Marvel Legends characters that I ever bought is Taskmaster, because getting these in where I live in Argentina are insanely expensive. But I saw this one on sale, and I said to myself, I have to get it. So Spider-Man's really flipping out with the whole situation with Mary Jane. Starts battling against Taskmaster, and again, McFarlane his thing with capes, but it looks so good. It just really adds to how epic the story is and adds to the character. So Taskmaster's henchmen try to take down Spidey. Then we have Taskmaster, who has photographic reflexes, so he's a real good fighter. Goes into hand-to-hand combat with Spidey. Spidey, since he's so flipped out with the whole situation with his wife, he's able to defeat Taskmaster, and he proceeds into trying to find her somewhere else because he discovers she's not there. But what's important is Taskmaster, which didn't get any cards during any of the Marvel series trading cards, at least to my memory. Like, if somebody has one, mention it in the comments below. But he just pretty much disappeared. As I said before, he just appeared very sporadically every once in a while up until the Initiative. That's where he started to become like this big recurring character and sort of the main character, especially during the Dark Reign. So I'm going to leave this video here. And 1980s Spider-Man with McFarlane is awesome. This came out in 1988. So see you guys next time. Bye.